Broadcasting stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on this Monday. J-Mo, is that sunshine out there?
It is.
I wasn't sure if it was really coming up anymore.
Oh, it brings the temperature up, but it has not so far.
I should be leaving tomorrow to go to New York City. It would be the Tigers and the Volunteers. Rick Barnes won't play Memphis, but he would have had to. But no, not meant to be. We get to that in just a second. The madness lives up to the billing. How about all the great games in the NCAA tournament? Grizz, who make this great comeback. What a weekend they had. And then they beat their rivals. They played Dallas tonight at FedEx Forum. No Ja. Still, they're 1.5-point favorites in the game. The Memphis women will play in the second round of the WNIT, so there is still some postseason for the U of M. And it's the first day of spring. Did you know that? I don't think it officially is. I've been trying to find this out. I thought I saw somewhere and I don't know how they figure this out, but today is going to be the first day of spring. I don't think it is totally yet the first day of spring. It happens at 3:50 or something crazy.
Yeah, 5:24 Eastern time.
So 4:24. Explain to me how they get to 4:24 today? It doesn't happen at midnight? What's the deal?
I think it has something to do with the way the equinox works. Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, that sounds like a very iffy answer, but we'll take that for the rule at the moment. So welcome to spring. I need something good to happen. That is for sure. So I want to go over the Final Four for sure, but or the NCAA tournament and all the amazing things. I've counted up seed numbers. I've listed highlights, and really, you just can't beat the NCAA. We got medals. Jason Munz is going to join us, and the first question I'll ask him is the story he's written. Was this a successful season, or because they did not equal last year or surpass it in terms of NCAA movement, is it a failure? We'll ask the beat writer from the Commercial Appeal that in the next segment. TJ Reeves will join us in the final segment. He was in Orlando, watched Duke and Tennessee and a bunch of stuff. We'll get with him. That will be in our final segment of the show. So the Tigers helped to do themselves in at the end of that game. There's just no way around it. I don't understand why Kendrick Davis threw that ball. Now, I think he said in his postgame he was worried about a 10-second count, so he threw the ball. If you're worried about a 10-second count, call timeout. Call timeout. He didn't. And that set up a lot of stuff. The other aspect that I think took the Tigers out of whatever rhythm they were in was when KD, and this is a questionable non-call, when KD gets fouled, and by most people's analysis, he was not allowed to come down, and he did twist his ankle coming, landed on the guy, and twisted his ankle. He's done this a lot this year. He goes to the bench, hopping to the bench, and it looks like, oh my gosh, this guy, he's broken his ankle. But you know what? He's done that literally 3 times this year where he was really hurt and he went to the bench. The first time he had to be helped to the locker room, and he was back in 2 minutes and played. Second time, he did not come back. This time, okay, he came back. Something was said, I'm guessing, by Malcolm Dandridge pertaining to that, and that set Kendrick Davis off. And Malcolm Dandridge is a guy who can spout off. And unfortunately, that was a distraction. That was self-inflicted. And then, you hate to say it, after the missed timeout, Tigers' defense was terrible. McCadden was told, don't allow a layup. He bit on a fake. Let the guy hit the three. Get close. Keep your hands up, but don't allow a drive. And he did. And the kid made the play. Now, the refs should have had the call on the three where KD didn't get the landing space. That changes the game entirely. He goes to the line to shoot three. Game's over. There was another play earlier in this whole sequence where Jaden Hardaway was called for a travel. In my opinion, that was a held ball. That should have been a held ball, and that's where FAU would have gotten the arrow. So the arrow would have been in Memphis's favor. Another big swing. And then I just don't understand how the referees, because I watched it, sole possession, I saw two players call timeout. How there was not a timeout called, I will never know. Now, this heartbreak, and it's heartbreaking, I told you, cost me 2 games and a trip to New York City, is not as heartbreaking as 2008. Up 9 with 2:12 to go, a national championship in your hand is a whole different animal. We all recovered from that, so we're going to recover from this. But this was a team I really enjoyed watching. This was a team that won a conference tournament. They're champs. This was a team that beat a number one that never had occurred before. So they did do a lot of good things, but they undid themselves with a little help from the referees. One other aspect no one's really talked about, Elijah McCadden was the second guy in a shoving match. Now, I watched that whole thing unfold. That should have been a double tech. They get 2 free throws, 2 points, the ball, when that should have been their ball, no points, because it should have been a double tech. And the worst part for me was that was the end of Elijah McCadden as a productive player. He was never the same after that. And he was the best player up until then. He had been terrific. He had 9 points. He never scored another point. So, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Sometimes luck comes into play, unfortunately. And I think most teams that win national championships get a major break or two along the way. The only breaks that Memphis got were bad breaks in this one. And that's just the way it sometimes goes. You know, that's what happened. I hate to say it. In 2008, I mean, the referees miss a guy going over the line on an inbounds play. That's just the way sometimes these things work out. We'll talk with Jason Munz about all of that coming up in a bit. If you want to sort of participate, not taking calls, but if you want to text in, you know the line is 901-360-8255. So I thought this NCAA was just amazing. Some highlights. And J-Mo, then I want some of yours. Gonzaga is now going to 8 straight Sweet 16s. If that's not dynastic, I know they haven't won a national title. I don't think this team is as good as some of the others, so I don't think they're going to win a national title. But I'll say this, Drew Timme is one great college player. He was magnificent yesterday. 8 straight Sweet 16s. Arkansas, what did they lead for? Like a minute 43 or a minute 48? That's it.
Yeah, they were down
in the whole game.
They were down the whole game. That's right.
He took out my national champion. By the way, first day 13-3, second day 10-6, second round 8-8. I have 8 Sweet 16 teams left. I have 4 Elite 8 left. I have 2 Final 4 left, but my national champion, Kansas, is history. Arkansas led for very little time, but they beat a number one. And I'll say this, Eric Musselman is like a lightning rod. I mean, I always thought that was a great hire. I think he's a heck of a coach.
Took his shirt off.
But he gets a little too emotional.
He loves taking his shirt off.
And he took his shirt off. Now, the guy, how old is he? 40, 45?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
45, 46, something like that. He's in pretty good shape. I mean, he's in good shape, but he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger at that age. I mean, come on, have a little humility.
He's 58 years old.
58. Wow, that's even better.
He's in good shape.
Pretty good shape. Dang. 48 years old. Wow. Anyway, 58, you said, right?
58, yeah.
Wow. He's not really young. He looks a lot younger than that. The biggest Cinderella moment is, and I got to watch history. Fairleigh Dickinson beats Purdue. The shortest team in the tournament beats the biggest team in the tournament. Honestly, the minute I saw Purdue play, the first 10 minutes, I said, how are they a number one seed? I really think they were overseeded, more so than FDU being underseeded. A lot of people are going, Fairleigh Dickinson should never have been a 16. No, I don't think that's true. They had one great player who had one great tournament. I mean, the 2 games that kid, is it Walker?
That's right.
Unbelievable how quick he is. And then they had some compliment, and they played really hard. And all those guys, by the way, came from a Division II school. They transferred with the coach, which is a statement right there. But no, they were seated correctly by the tournament committee. We'll talk with Mike DeCourcy about that tomorrow. I think Purdue was overseeded. They shouldn't have been a 1. They should not have been a 1. Now, the team that maybe was underseeded is Princeton, because Princeton looks pretty darn good. And they got a lot of pieces. Their coach, who was a point guard on the team when Pete Carell took their team, I think, to the Sweet 16. He's the coach now. He's got these guys playing outstanding. They can hit threes. They're interchangeable. I don't know if they're going to win a Sweet 16 game, because now they got to play Creighton, which is finally living up to the billing. How many times have I told you Creighton should be one of those Final Four teams?
Since the beginning, since their Thanksgiving tournament.
Exactly. And they finally lived up to that billing, but now they've lost Mason Miller, who hit a big 3 before he got hurt.
He was carried off the court, too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Same thing happened to him that happened to KD. They didn't give him room to come down. I don't know if there was a foul called on that one.
And then they have...
I'll be honest with you. I was watching one other game when Miller got hurt.
And then they have Andrew Nimhard's brother is a really good guard on that team,
great.
too.
No, he's great. Nimhard is terrific. The 7-footer, Cornwall, whatever it is great. They got the slasher in Kaluma. They got another kid that's a really solid player. I mean, they've got pieces. They're good. I think they're too good for Princeton. But they're a great story. I mean, it's not the first 15 seed into the Sweet 16, because that's 3 in a row. Oral Roberts, St. Peter's, and now Princeton. So and to me, a lot of this is transfer portal, COVID rule, where guys are getting another year and they're bigger, stronger, knowing systems. And there's just so much parity. Tennessee, could have met Memphis in the Garden. Wouldn't that have been an unbelievable moment for this state? For certain, it would have been for Tiger fans. And they just bullied and were allowed to bully Duke. I mean, the Duke center, what's his name?
Filipowski.
Filipowski. Holy mackerel. They nailed him in the dang nose, face, whatever. And then it wasn't even a call.
Yeah,
they drew blood and they didn't get a call.
Yeah, that was a tough rebound, too. Tough elbow. I mean, that looked like it hurt. You could see
they were
it gushing.
Him. Did you see, I think it was Plavsic who just absolutely checked him 5 feet from the position in the paint. Literally moved him in the air. No call. They let them play. It was amazing to me.
Yeah, Tennessee's impressive. Their defense. I mean,
they're great defense.
People have been talking about how they just don't score enough to win in the tournament. But if you look at some of these scores, I mean, especially on Saturday, it's all like 70, 60, 50-point games. They play right into those hands in the NCAA tournament. Tennessee has been very impressive so far.
Well, you know what? They're learning to play without Ziegler.
And Vescovi was
and Vescovi is he played out of his mind.
He did.
But that's the thing about him. You don't know which Vescovi you're going to get. Will he show up against FAU? He should. I mean, I would make Tennessee the huge favorite to take on K-State or Michigan State. I knew Michigan State was going to beat Marquette when I first saw him. That turned out to be a great game. Cam Jones. So, I'm watching the first half. Marquette's playing Vermont, and I'm going, man, I keep hearing about this Cam Jones. He's only a 3-star at ECS. I don't know if the Tigers even looked at him. He told Mark Giannotto, or maybe Jason, who's going to join us here in a minute, Jason Munns, that he wanted to leave home. He wanted to go and experience the culture being away from home for college. I encourage that. I told my kids to go. And they did, and then they came back for the second year. But this kid is enjoying what he's doing. He had 18 in the second half to help propel them to get to the Michigan State game. And that turned out to be a good game, but I thought Michigan State was more physical and had more pieces. And the Marquette point guard, who is a really good player. I mean, I watched him in the Big East. I watched him in big games. He was third-team All-American. Kolek, isn't that his name?
Yeah, Tyler Kolek, I think.
He was terrible in these two games. He had a bad tournament. I think he's only a sophomore. They're all coming back. So they're going to be great. And FAU, by the way, all sophomores. So Memphis is going to play them probably 3 times next year. Home, away, tournament. You hope.
You think so?
You got to figure they'll be the top 2 teams going in, depending on what happens with Memphis and the total recruiting and the total portal stuff, which could be starting here in the next week. We'll ask Jason Munns about that as well. So I do a thing every year where to determine which might be the more interesting of the regions and how it all turns out, which was the strongest of the regions. The good thing, and we'll get to this in medals too, is there was not a chalk region. None. So what I do is a chalk region would be add up the seed numbers. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 10, correct? All right? I'm going to take it from the one that was the closest to chalk was the Midwest. That was a 1, 5, 2, 3, so that's 11 total. That's the only one that's really kind of close. The West was next. That's an 8 seed, a 4 seed, a 3 seed, a 2 seed. That's 17. Then it gets a little wild. In the East, 9, 4, 3, 7. That's 23. And then you do have a 1 seed in the South. That's Alabama. After that, a 5, a 6, and the 15. That's 27. That's one of the higher seed totals that I have seen. It makes that regional, I think, a lot of fun to watch. All right, your thoughts before we get to medals?
Yeah, no, we mentioned Tennessee. They were really impressive to me. I'm mesmerized by how consistently the small schools or the mid-major leagues, how much better and more fundamental their games are than the power conferences. Specifically watching Arizona versus Princeton on at the same time as Arkansas and Illinois. That Arkansas, no disrespect to Arkansas, they beat Kansas, great win, but that game was such a low IQ level of basketball compared to what Princeton and Arizona were doing on the court. I just find that difference to be very interesting. You were talking about how much better these small leagues are doing. I think it's in no small part because there's just not a lot of basketball being taught to these guys before they get to college, and it's on display with these big schools with these great athletes compared to some of the smaller schools with not as good athletes, but they play a lot higher level of basketball.
Well, the Big East was the big winner because they started with less teams, and they got 3 still remaining, and that's Creighton, UConn, and Xavier. The biggest loser, probably the Big Ten. They started with 8. They've only got one left. That's Michigan State. As a 7 seed, by the way.
That's right.
And their number 1 seed, Purdue, losing to a 16, might be the biggest upset in the history of the NCAA. I don't think it is, and I was there to witness it, so I'd like to say it was. I still think the Maryland County, Baltimore, Maryland County, University of Maryland, Baltimore County,
That's right.
UMBC.
That's right.
I knew I'd get it eventually. UMBC was the last team in, and Virginia was the number 1 overall seed. So I think that's a little bigger, and it was the first.
That's right.
So I want to give that because that was the shortest team, FDU, against the biggest team in Purdue and Zach Edey.
With Edey.
Zach Edey, I don't know if he can be an NBA guy.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway. Just those are some thoughts. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Just a reminder, preseason patio and pool sale really swinging into full gear. By the way, maybe the freezes are over. It's supposed to be in the 70s by Wednesday or Thursday. Think about your pool. Think about your patio, and you can get big price opportunities and a great selection right now. If you head to I-40 and Whidden Road, that preseason patio and pool sale is in full swing. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together. Our title sponsors, Homer Skelton Hyundai, and Homer Skelton Genesis. And you know by now why I love them. They're always trying to make deals for you. And if you love luxury cars, there's nothing better than the Genesis. That's the Hyundai upscale division. There's a guy named Vinny Gerard who's over that. You need to go see Vinny. He's fun to talk to, by the way. Vinny is saying, do business with me, and you finance through Genesis. You can get a $1,000 rebate if you buy the rocket ship known as the G70, the Genesis G70. Do business, finance with Genesis. You get that rebate. They're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Let's do some precious metals. You know I love golf. And literally, after the tournaments were over, I went to Golf Channel and I watched the last 2 holes of the Valspar. Taylor Moore won his first PGA Tour event. He's been a guy, I think, might have been his 40th event or 46th event, something like that. He's second year. Second year he's been around. $1.5 million. That's for the lower level tournaments now. Spieth again. At the end, man, he could have won that tournament. Didn't happen for him. But this kid, Taylor Moore, putts inside 7 feet. Do you know what his record was?
I don't.
This is why he won the tournament. He was 65 of 65 from inside 7 feet. Now, some of those are 2 feet. But I watched him make a critical par putt, which really kind of won it for him on 17, from 5 feet 7 inches that had movement. I mean, 7 feet and in, you don't miss the whole week? That's pretty impressive. Jordan Spieth would like to say that. If he had, he would have won that tournament by 6-7 strokes. Unbelievable. I got to give a silver medal to Overton High School. Should give them a gold, really. They won their first state tournament. That history, going back to Johnny Newman and all those guys, unbelievable. Congratulations to Overton High School. I got to give Dylan Brooks, the Grizz. First, they have their best comeback ever, down 29 in San Antonio, win that game on the road. And then they beat their rivals, and Dylan Brooks was amazing in shutting down the great Steph Curry. Held them to 16 points, like he was 5 of 15. It's incredible. Grizzlies win that game, and they need to, and maybe we'll get into this a little bit later. I don't know if we'll have time today, certainly tomorrow, after the Grizz play today. No Ja, by the way, and that's a team and Ja decision, not an NBA. The suspension's over. I think he wants to get into better shape and practice more with the team, but he's not playing against the Mavs tonight. And that's a team right now, if the playoffs started today, that's the team they'd be playing in the first round. So that'll be fun to watch. Grizz without Josh, still 1.5 favorites. And then my gold medal goes to the NCAA tournament. Not one region went chalk. Great games, the usual upsets, but I can't remember like a blowout. Certainly in the second round. Can you remember one that you would say with like 2 minutes left, game's over?
Duke over Oral Roberts. That's really the only one that comes to mind for me.
That wasn't second round.
No, that was first round. In the second round, I don't think there was any, really.
It's incredible. Unreal.
Xavier controlled Pittsburgh pretty well, but Pittsburgh made a run there down the stretch of that game.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, what they did in the first round?
Unbelievable.
I could not believe what they did.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Your
medals. I'm sorry.
No worries. My bronze medal goes to this new MLS coverage on Apple TV Plus. I've actually very much enjoyed it. I watch a little European soccer, but not a lot. It's really just this coverage. Two teams, Atlanta United and St. Louis City, they're the only two teams in the MLS with 3+ wins and no losses. Both have scored 11 goals in 4 games.
You are like Mr. Obscure.
You
will find, if it's not Formula One.
Oh, that was a great race this weekend, too.
I'm just telling you. You come up with MLS soccer in the middle of the NCAA tournament for your medals.
It was really good. Match day on Saturday. You got to watch.
Did you go to see the 901 FC?
No, I haven't seen 901 FC yet.
You better get your butt to the AutoZone Park
I need to. My silver medal goes to the New York Rangers. They scored 7 goals yesterday to beat the Preds, 7-0, 6 goals in the first period. They beat the Penguins on Saturday, so they played a back-to-back, beat the Penguins 6-0. They've now scored 15 straight goals without giving one up. That is the most consecutive goals by a team all season, and they're only the 6th team in NHL history to win back-to-back shutouts while scoring 6+ goals. Unbelievable stat there. And my gold medal goes to Austin Reeves. Yesterday against the Magic, he had 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 30 minutes off the bench. He was 9 of 14. He made 16 free throws, more than the Orlando Magic as an entire team yesterday. Austin Reeves is a legitimate NBA player.
That's amazing. The kid from Mayberry, Arkansas, because I can't remember the little town's name. How about that?
Unbelievable.
He really is. All right, my Rust real quick, KO. His decision to go pro, to enter the NBA draft, let me tell you something. KO, you're a nice kid.
Great kid.
I've had some conversations with him. I really like him. He will never, mark my words, ever play in the NBA. I'm not sure he'd make the G League.
I concur.
I don't know what he's thinking. He's got this trainer that apparently is in his ear. And maybe he doesn't want to go to school anymore. I don't know. But that's just a ridiculous decision.
I concur. My rust goes to Michigan. This is an NIT game. They were up 8 points on Vanderbilt with 1:06 left. Michigan turned it over 3 times, fouled twice, and did not attempt a free throw up 8 points with 1:06 left. Vanderbilt advances. They go on a 9-0 run the last minute of the game to win. They play Wednesday in Nashville against UAB.
I was coming home from the airport, heartbroken. Listen to that game. Listen to it. Couldn't believe it. Because the announcers had given up. They thought it was over. That was incredible. That is what we have for medals. This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Old Dominick. That is Memphis' distillery. They're big Tiger supporters. They really are, and they have great product. Right now, I'm telling you, their distiller, the master distiller, Alex Castle, she never releases anything till it's ready. It is outstanding. These 2 new whiskeys, one's bottled in bond, the other is sipping. You'll love it. Look, if you're out downtown looking for something new, maybe you want to finish up a night out in style, there's the bar at Old Dominick, which offers up carefully crafted cocktails to suit everybody's taste. And you're using or getting to try the Old Dominick spirits. And they're great. It says a lot about Memphis, and the tour, by the way, is fantastic. Check it out. You'll thank me later. Old Dominick. It is outstanding. Back with Jason Munz in just a minute. This is Wolo and Friends.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, Sports 56 fans, come join me for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Square, corner of Park and Cherry, this Friday from 11 to 1. Come hungry, enjoy complimentary barbecue and all the fixins, and 2 chances to win 2 rounds of golf and carts at Wedgwood Golf Course. We have 2 $25 gift cards to Neil's Bar and Grill, where the fat man rocks. We also have plenty of Malco tickets to win, gift cards to the new Sunrise Cafe East Memphis. So come join me, Johnny Radio, for a live remote at Town Village Audubon Square.
Some listeners like you are experiencing firsthand the amazing pain relief from QC Kinetics, even calling your favorite radio host to share the good news.
QC Kinetics. I had my right ankle worked on 4 months ago. Awesome.
That's great,
look
Mick.
at that, man.
Yes, they worked on my elbow.
Every day, the QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients like Mick with the latest regenerative therapies using natural biologics concentrated right at the hurting joint. No surgery, no downtime.
I'm telling you, QC Kinetic is the way to go if you don't want to go under the knife and suffer for 3 months.
Yep.
It was very easy, as you well know, with your elbow.
I'm telling you.
You guys are awesome.
Mick, appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for the phone call. Really appreciate it. I'm so glad that QC Kinetics did some wonders for you. I mean, regenerative medicine, man, that's the thing these days. Living proof right there.
Call QC Kinetics now for your consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. We've got breaking news for Jason Munz. Jason, I don't know if you've heard this, but according to the Bulls Insider, the USF Bulls have a new coach. The new coach at South Florida is Mike Bray, the former Notre Dame coach who was basically shown the door after many, many years there, and he's going to wind up in Tampa. Wow, that's interesting, huh?
Big one. That's a little, I don't know. That's.
Uh-oh. I think we got a bad connection.
I forget.
Yeah. You might want to move to a better position wherever you are because we're having a little trouble hooking up with you. In the meantime, I'll tell everybody this portion of the show brought to you by Conway. The experienced technicians at Conway are ready to solve all your drain problems for a limited time. Take advantage of the 83 or it's free drain clearing special. Feel secure knowing the trusted pros at Conway guarantee that if they can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Call now or visit conwayservices.com. That number 384-3511. They are the best. So is Jason Munz at what he does with the commercial appeal on the Tigers. You wrote a story. Was this a successful season or a failing season? Because the Tigers didn't advance as far in the NCAA as they did a year ago, and frankly, they unraveled in the last minute of that game with FAU. So what do you come to a conclusion with here? Which is?
I think it is a it's a nuanced discussion, especially given the fact that, you know, it's all so recent. You know, it's still that sour, bitter taste is still, you know, in the mouths of Tiger fans everywhere, I'm sure. You know, but so in that way, it's a very interesting discussion because it is very disappointing, especially when you consider how heavy of a favorite Memphis would have been in the round of 32 to advance to their first Sweet 16 since 2009. I mean, like the path to a Madison Square Garden showdown with the University of Tennessee,
who won't play you otherwise, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, like it was paved with yellow bricks. This path, this road, and so I think that makes it sting even a little bit more. Like you could have gone onto, you know, this huge stage with a chance to, you know, stick it to your in-state rival and get to the Elite Eight in the process, you know, somewhere you haven't been in many, many years, and really, really, really take a step forward. You know, but and you know, all it would have taken was, you know, one more play here or there to beat a team that you were favored to beat anyway. It's a lot to process, and it really, really stings. And hurts and will probably for a while, but I think once the dust settles and you know, you get the benefit of time, you know, the passage of time a little bit to sit back and reflect, I think ultimately this season was a step forward. You know, there were just some bad breaks in a very, very poor time, but I think overall, I mean, there were so many good things. I mean, 26 wins, the most since I think 2013, first conference championship since 2013.
First time ever to beat a number one.
Yeah, right. First victory over number one team in the history of the program. So I think, you know, all that taken into consideration, in my opinion, it can't be looked at as anything other than a success. It will just have that. It's just got that, you know, thing in the back of your mind that's probably going to gnaw at you for a while.
KO's decision to go NBA. What do you think of that move?
I honestly, I think it's probably the best move for him. I mean, I don't think that he, you know, like what's going to be better, you know, either staying at Memphis or trying to go somewhere else, and, you know, not, you know, probably not finding a spot that's going to allow him to, you know, show off his skills. I mean, he's what we found out this year about KO is he's very, very limited in what he can do on the floor. He's just from a, you know, from like where he should be, he's nowhere near that.
No.
And I think that not only did that frustrate Memphis, but it also frustrated KO. And, you know, like he's banking on the possibility that there is somebody out there somewhere, whether it's with an NBA team, whether it's with a G League team, whether it's with an overseas team. He's banking on the fact that there's somebody out there that really, really likes his potential. You know, 6'10", can jump out the gym. Potential.
That's all he has. He does not have hands. He was developing some moves.
Correct.
His knowledge of the game, he's not instinctive, and the Tigers would have to position him on both ends of the floor, even defense, where he's supposed to be a rim protector. He would not be in the right spots. You would see guys pushing him to be in the right spots. I think this is a terrible decision for him. I don't think it's a bad decision for Memphis, honestly, because I'm not certain he was going to be asked back. So maybe this is you know, the right thing for him to do. But to say you're going NBA, he'll never in my estimation, play in the NBA. Maybe he'll play somewhere small overseas like the Philippines or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
he's never going to play, in my mind, in the NBA. You would have to make, at this very moment, until we see what happens, FAU the favorite to win the American next year, wouldn't you? Because we don't know what's coming up in the portal, and all those guys who are taking Memphis's place in the Sweet 16, they're all back. They're all sophomores unless they transfer to bigger schools. And, they seem to like Dusty May, their coach, so I don't know if that'll be the case, and they're enjoying quite a bit of success. So what do you think's going to happen with the Memphis makeup for next year?
I think it's going to be another year where you're going to see a lot of new faces. I would expect that KO is certainly not the last player with eligibility remaining who will be leaving. Obviously, you're losing Alex Lomax, Kendrick Davis, DeAndre Williams, Elijah McCadden, Damari Franklin. Obviously, those guys are gone. KO is gone. So that you're up to 6 right there. You have 4 high school players currently signed, and 3 guys who committed but have not yet signed. They'll be able to, if they are going to sign those other 3 players, they'll be they can't do it until next month. We'll see how that shakes out. I would expect that of those 3, not all of them will sign. Maybe multiple of those 3 won't sign. And so, I fully, again, I think it's going to be another year of some pretty significant turnover. I think they're going to go into the portal and, they're going to fill the roster, as needed. And it's going to take a little while to shake out, for things to shake out and figure out, who's coming, who's going, who's staying, who's leaving. All that's going to take a little bit of time. But the one thing we know for sure is that there's going to be, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 7 to 10 new faces.
Yeah, well, let's face it. No KD, no DeAndre. Those guys are gone. Alo's gone. McCadden's gone. Kennedy can come back.
He can.
The Lawson brothers can come back.
They can.
Dandridge could come back. KO's not coming back. Jaden Hardaway's definitely coming back because he's going to play with his brother, and that's the one guy I know is going to be here next year, is Penny's other son, who's supposed to be a great three-point shooter. I hear a lot of portal rumors. I have no idea if any of them are true, and some say that there will be movement this week.
I would think that's very, very, very likely. It's the portal's been open now for I forget exactly how long it's been, a week or 2, whatever it is. And, you got to move quick. You got to move quick. Guys want to get to a spot, as quickly as possible. I don't think that we're, you see it sometimes, and you have the last couple of years where, some of these players like to bide their time, and really, try to maybe use time as leverage. But I think what some people are seeing is that that's not exactly a good thing. That doesn't exactly doesn't exactly play to their advantage. I forget exactly. I know Kendrick committed pretty early. I don't think it was the first week after Memphis was done, but it was pretty quick. So I think, I think that we're going to, and Penny even talked about it after the game the other night, how he wants to, move a little bit quicker this off season and start getting all of his ducks in a row earlier, just because, waiting until June or July to start getting everything pulled together was something that he felt like led to a little bit of a delay in terms of progress. And
well, that's true. He got McCadden and Kennedy really late. Of course, he got Bates and Durant pretty late too. Durant worked out pretty well.
That's true.
I think he would like to get them all there in the summer so they could start playing together. And with the way things are going now, the earlier you can get guys to start playing together because they're not going to play together that long, right? Isn't that what we see now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that depending on how the exit interviews go, I mean, you got to wait and see how that goes. You got to wait and see. You got some things to iron out with the incoming high school freshmen. You got to figure out exactly how that's all going to shake out. But I think that's what these next few days are going to be big for, and then you can really start pulling the trigger on some of these
and then
transfer portal guys.
Really at the Final Four, right, in a couple of weeks, that's when coaches sort of all mingle, and that's when job movement starts. Who knows if this coaching staff will all be the same next year, starting with Frank Hayes.
A lot of questions, yeah. I mean, Frank has been a head coach for a very long time over the course of his career, and, I do think that is going to be one of the top, I would say, questions as far as the staff is concerned, because Frank did a really, really good job. He sat in the first chair all season long.
No question. He's a class act. Jason, we've got you in this time slot on Mondays through the Final Four, and then we're still gonna have to chat with you because I would miss you too much.
Well, ditto.
There you go. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Wolo.
That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Sheldon Basketball. Basketball. That's all we want to hear about at this time of the year. He's right. We're glued to the games all the way into Houston for the Final Four. But if you've got real estate on your mind because you want to sell your home and you're switching channels between games, will you remember the best point guard on every team? Probably not. But you'll always remember the best point guard for your real estate team, which would be Sheldon Rosengarten. You'll remember him. And why they call him Sheldon? Because when you want the job done, you call or email Sheldon with that highly successful strategic marketing program that can make the difference in how much you make and when. And because of his connection to one of the largest real estate relocation networks, he can also arrange an agent to help you with whatever new location you may be going to. That's why his email is Memphis Relocate. So there's two things you have to remember. The best point guard and the worst golfer in the real estate business. That is Sheldon Rosengarten. That's 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. To Tampa we go in a minute. What will our guy TJ say about the news on Mike Bray? He's next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866,988, MSRP 22,945, K5 PG200, 400, MSRP 26,455, Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance 200. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to give Memphis your best deals at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
That's what I always do, Randy. How about a 2023 Kia Soul LX, only $333 a month and $27.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury? 2023 Kia K5 LXS, $362 a month or $31.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Or how about the 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive?
We got it at $381 per month, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And don't forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And Jeff, what if I don't see exactly what I want?
I'll order it for you, Randy, so whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Once in a while, we hear about something new that's actually good. One of those things is Sunrise East on Popper. All the great things you expect from Sunrise on Jefferson, just further east for those of you that can't get there. Perfect breakfast and lunch served fast and fresh, made just for you with the care of people that care. A chain restaurant isn't going to have a staff that genuinely care about your happiness. You can go anywhere for lunch or dinner, but if there are 2 Sunrise locations, why would you go anywhere else?
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farm All, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farm All that's right for you.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Let's head to Tampa. TJ Reeves, former voice of the USF Bulls. His coach, well, that was Seth Greenberg, who's now a TV star. The new coach at USF, amazingly, is Mike Bray. Holy cow. What do you think of that, TJ Reeves?
Well, first of all, good to be with you. We got many subjects to discuss, and I know we got to do it quickly. The first thing is J-Mo just tipped me to this, because as you know, I've been doing a live show elsewhere.
Yeah.
A caution flag is out like NASCAR. This is one report from a local person from what I can tell, and when the heavy hitters like Jeff Goodman, like Gary Parrish, and others in and around college basketball don't have this, then it makes you a little suspicious, because I could go down the list, and you could too, of local reporters that are trying to make a name for themselves, and they hear something, or they hear that somebody's talking to a school, and they run with it. So I see one lone report on Mike Bray to USF, which would be fascinating, the former Notre Dame coach, but I don't know how valid that is. Okay. There you go. Food for thought.
All right. You were in Orlando. You watched the Tennessee and the Duke game and all the pushing and shoving. And my good friend Stats reminded me that actually Duke had more fouls than Tennessee. I thought Tennessee, though, was the more blatant of the physical teams. You tell me, you were there.
It was definitely physical, and Tennessee made shots. I mean, this time of the year is about making shots, and they made threes. If Tennessee had shot 3 balls like that in February and March, they'd have been better off. They still end up getting a 4 seed. I think they deserve a lot of credit. Rick Barnes has been under a lot of fire for his March record. But that was impressive. They got Roach in foul trouble. Duke went to the zone. And so where my press seat was, I was right at the end where Tennessee was coming at us for that whole second half. And they carved that 2-3 zone up. So kudos to them. And now they get a real favorable matchup with Florida Atlantic instead of the Memphis Tigers. I know you've been over it. We were talking off the air. The door was wide open for the Tigers to not take advantage of it. Instead, Florida Atlantic takes advantage of it. And we'll see what happens with that matchup.
Is this Tennessee team, in your mind, good enough to get past they'll get past Florida Atlantic. I don't have an issue with that.
I don't know. I mean, that's a neutral floor in New York, and FAU has got some talent.
Well, they got shooters. They got shooters.
Yes. And they have some size. They have a couple of big guys. That's a fascinating thing. And then you got Michigan State or Kansas State on the bottom of that. And you have to favor Michigan State there in that.
I do too. Michigan State, I think, is underachieved this year.
Well, and I mean, Tom Izzo, just incredible. What is the record now? I believe they said the stat on the TV, and I think I have it right. 24-7 in 31 games with 1 day to prepare in the NCAA tournament.
I saw that.
24-7 is a ridiculous number.
That means he is a very quick study and understands trends and can teach them in a hurry to his guys. I think that is impressive. Is that more impressive than Mark Few, who has taken his team, Gonzaga, now to 8 straight Sweet 16s?
I think it's more impressive what Few has done because they have built Gonzaga. He has built Gonzaga into an empire the last 25 years. They're the dominant team in the West, period. The dominant team on the West Coast. They are perennially in this thing on the second weekend. They have trouble getting by this game and the Elite Eight game and getting to a Final Four, which they've only done once.
Right.
So, or actually twice, because they did get to the Indianapolis COVID-compressed tournament championship game with Baylor. But I mean, yeah, they're the empire of the West. Gonzaga on the other side, and it's going to be wild. We lost 2 number 1s, we lost 2 number 2s, and now we're going to throw the ball back up here in a few days and find out who can scramble and make their way to Houston. We'll see.
Well, that Gonzaga UCLA game, that was a Elite Eight game a couple of years ago, right?
Correct. It was a Final Four game in the COVID compressed tournament when Suggs hit the half court shot.
Yeah.
Final Four game. Again, all of it was in Indianapolis. It all ran together, but that was a half court shot to go to the national title game for Gonzaga in a great game.
Yeah.
And here it is. I mean, look, CBS is crying because they don't have Duke, figuratively. They don't have Kansas. They don't have Kentucky, but at least in the West, they got the 2 predominant brand names right now to play each other in Las Vegas.
Houston, Miami, I think is going to be a great game, too. Xavier, Texas should be terrific. I mean, I don't see a bad one. Arkansas, UConn, unreal.
Yeah, they have some good matchups, just not the brand names. What happened? I saw that San Diego State team in Orlando. They are physical. They want to grind it out. Great anti-style against Alabama. Who wins the battle of tempo and how they want to play between the Tide and San Diego State? That'll be fascinating coming up.
It'll be fascinating when you're back with us on a regular basis starting the Monday of the Final Four. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy. I'm sure I'll talk to you later in the week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to all of it. Great to be with you. Thank you, my friend. Looking forward to being in Houston, too, when all this settles in about a week and a half.
Oh, I know. You are going to the Final Four, and that will be a lot of fun in Energy Stadium. That is TJ Reeves. He's brought to you by my friend Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop, family owned and operated all the way back since 1969. You go in to Poplar and St. Nick, that little log cabin you pass by a million times when you're going past Clark Tower, heading toward the river. You see it there on the right. You go, what? Could they have much stuff in there? They go, man, spatial engineering. They got everything in there. And they'll give you an education. Because Eddie likes to talk. He likes to really embellish about the great spirits that he has in that shop. From bargains to rare bourbons to up-and-coming wines that'll be valuable in a little bit to maybe some that are never going to be great but really have a good price. You just have to figure out what you want, and he'll steer you in the right direction. He and his family, they make it easy. That's the Spirit Shop. Time to reload. After this weekend, you've been probably drinking away your sorrows like me. All you got to do is get to Poplar and St. Nick in the Spirit Shop. That'll do it for us tomorrow. Mike DeCourcy will talk NCAA and a whole lot more. Have a great day, everybody.
I know the sweetest thing